Alright, we are going to be continuing our exploration of code combat, and we're going to be connecting what you guys have already done and what you will do in code combat to Scratch and to Python. So if you have not already gotten started, I'm going to go over this again. You go to Code Academy, or I apologize, Code Combat, and that link is on Edmodo, but you can also Google Code Combat and find it pretty quickly. You can either create an account or just go ahead and hit play. And then that first level, which is Dungeons of Kithgard, if you select that, it will prompt you to choose a hero. Now, it does not matter if you choose the female or male hero. And I do want you, for this Girls Sim class, to choose Python as your language. And then you can hit Next. Throughout the game, you'll be prompted to equip certain things. And here, before you play the first level, you'll want to equip these boots. And the boots give you access to different methods. So a lot of the different equipment, the armor, the clothing, etc., will give you access to different methods. And methods are similar to functions. We'll look at that in a moment. But these allow you to move down, left, right, up. When you get to the level, you'll notice down in the kind of in the right side of the screen, kind of halfway down, you'll see a help button. It looks like this. And if you click that, this is in case you get very lost while playing the game. You don't know exactly what you're doing. You've tried, but you can't get it. You can hit the help button, and it has a whole video tutorial on how to solve that level. If you hover your mouse over the boots or over self move down, self move left, etc., it will give you information about how to use that method. So methods are like functions, but associated with a specific object. In the case of move down, with these parentheses, note the parentheses with the given method, the specific object is self. So that's similar to functions, and if you remember, functions are named reusable sequences of code. And the example that we went over last class was if on edge bounce. So in Scratch, you can use the if on edge bounce block as opposed to using this compilation of blocks, even though they're the same thing. Scratch went ahead and made one block that users could use instead of having to use 5 different blocks. But they do the same thing. So, if methods are associated with a specific object, what is the object for move down? Well, the object is self. And note the syntax here, the syntax being like the grammar or the way the language works. Self is the object, and it's attached to the method with a period, or by a period. So the object self, the method move down, and the method will have parentheses. The object is self, which refers to your player. Self is actually a variable that stores information about your player, like the location. And you can use this whole line to save and get information as well, and we'll see that in just a moment. You can remember how variable assignment works, right? A variable name, and you can assign a value to it. In Minecraft Pi, which you guys will be getting to very soon, you're going to have a variable, and you're going to see these object method lines where your object is the player, and the method get post or get position. Note that the parentheses are still there. You can use this to save information about where the player is in the game. And you're actually going to use this line very often in the game when we hack into Minecraft. So it's the same thing. It's using a method. Methods are associated with objects. In this case, the object is your player. This is a special line we'll get to. It just ties Python to Minecraft while the game is playing, and this is all saved to the variable position. So in Code Combat, it's the boots that allow you to use these move methods, and you'll see the methods are kind of grouped next to the boots. The game, as it continues, gives you more access to additional methods, and you get that access by obtaining armor and weapons, etc. In Python, you use import lines to import libraries or modules. And these are bundle of functions for you to use. So instead of having to obtain a boot to get access to new modules, you use import lines in Python. And here you're importing the Minecraft library so that you can use it. So if you had tried to use get posts with these parentheses as a method before importing this, Python wouldn't know what this method did. So you use import lines. Just like there are going to be some methods that you use in later levels that you wouldn't be able to use until you got those objects. For example, there's a building hammer that you use at the end of this world, and you can't build yet because you don't have the building hammer. Okay. So this is level 1. Note that when you move, you're moving to these circles, so you need to move to the right, move down, and move to the right, and you can see those codes there. Alright, so this is how the rest of the lessons will go. We talk a little bit about how the level works. Any hints that you need, you see here in level 2. If you just hit move up once, it stops you about halfway up the level. You need to do move up twice to go first to this circle and then up to the gem. And this just is going to move you through all of the different levels. It gives you hints on how to beat them and kind of why this is the better, why the solution is the solution. So in level 4, it tells you that you need to get the solution in under a certain number of lines. So if you go the top way, that works. If you go the bottom way, it's actually many more lines of code as it's that longer travel. So this lesson is available for you as a PDF on Edmodo. And I really do want you to go through and just spend the rest of this hour working through Code Academy. No matter, I apologize, Code Combat. Those are very similar names. So it doesn't matter what level you got to on Wednesday, just continue from that point, but pay attention to this stuff. So on level 5, you get a new sword, which means a new method. Really, I want you guys to download the PDF from Edmodo and work through it. So when you get to level 5, you read about this. It's going to introduce concepts like strings, which we went over in Python, and we're going to see in our Minecraft Python lessons. Well, you can see that now in Code Combat. And you can use these attack methods because you got the sword. Alright, so I'm going to continue on in this recording, explaining, kind of going through each level, but I do want you to know that PDF is there for you too, as if you're going along at your own speed. Alright, so in the green quotation marks, you'll see that this is an example of a string, and this is how you attack different things in your game. Note that you have to use 2 lines to attack properly. For level 6, if you start playing but you just cannot survive, you need to make sure you go back, so you can hit this back button up top and purchase yourself some armor. Now this does not give you any methods, it just increases your health so that you last long enough to kill all 3 ogres. This lesson is probably in there to reinforce the new method that you learned, the attack method, but also to remind you that you can be buying things like armor, etc. with your gems without being prompted to. In level 7, we get access to loops, which is wonderful. With that little book there, and we can hover over the loop icon in the bottom right corner of the screen to see what it does. And we've seen this in a little bit in Python and Code Academy. We've seen this definitely in Scratch. By typing loop colon in Code Combat, any of lines below this that are tabbed over are going to be looped. So you can loop your way to exit a maze or find an enemy and attack. Remember, loops are used to repeat a sequence of code, either a set number of times forever or until a condition is false. and we've used these in Scratch with forever loops while playing a game for movement, and to get in the animation to get the cat across the screen, we use the repeat however many times block. In Haunted Kith Maze, kind of the challenge here is to find, all right, what's the pattern that needs to get repeated? So if you look, your person needs to move to the right, move to the right, move up, and now they're going to move to the right, move to the right, move up, and then move to the right, move to the right, move up, move up. So under loop, all you need is that move right line, move up line, and then it can start over. That's the whole point of the loop. So all these 4 lines are all you need. In second Kith Maze, again, can you find the pattern? Well, this time it's right, up, right, down, and then it starts over. Right, up, right, down. Make sure you indent your lines. In Dread Door, it's super simple. Just know that you're, instead of moving, doing move within the loop, you're going to be attacking, and your string this time is door. Now, in level 10, you're introduced to the idea of variable assignment. So instead of attacking and then within here putting crat, you put enemy1, which is a variable that stores the string crat. So right here, let's look at this question. Why is crat in quotations in green, but enemy1 is not? Well, that's because crat is a string. It's the value being saved to the variable enemy1. So enemy1 is a variable name, assignment operator, and then crat is a string. It's the value. So here, enemy1 is standing in for the string crat. But variable names are not strings. You don't put quotation marks around variable names. That's like the label that you put on a cardboard box. The string crat is the value you put inside the box. So this might not seem super helpful right now. You know, this looks like more lines of code, right? You have to first type the variable and then save the value crat to it, and then type another variable and save the value gert to it. This seems like more lines than if you just put crat or gert or ursa in parentheses. Well, we're going to see why this is extremely useful in the next level. And it's because you can use variables to write code for changing values or values you don't yet know. So you know there's going to be an enemy in the next round, but you don't know what their name is going to be. So a variable is a way to solve that problem. In level 11, we get a new method with these crude glasses, and it allows you to find nearest enemy. So if we hover over the glasses, this is the information that you get. Find nearest enemy locates an enemy nearest to the player and saves their name as a string to the variable enemy1. So self.findNearestEnemy is going to return a string. So when this line is run, whatever enemy is closest to you, let's say their name is Krat. So you're playing the game and Krat is the nearest monster to you, the nearest ogre. Then this whole line, self.findNearestEnemy, becomes the string Krat. So the string Krat is then saved to enemy1, and you can attack enemy1. That's why the variable is useful, because you don't know who the nearest enemy is going to be. It really could be anything. So the first line locates the enemy nearest to your player and saves their name as a string to the variable enemy1. And then in the second and third line, they attack that enemy. And here's the solution in case you get stuck for 12 and 13. Now 14 is the final Kith Maze, and it's a little bit trickier of a pattern because you have an attack in there. And please note, as you're going through these, I do want you to pause and try to figure it out on your own, but to go through it here. So you need to move right, move up, find the nearest enemy and then attack that enemy twice. Then move right, move down, move down, move up. So that pattern is definitely a little bit tougher to see, but hopefully this visual is good if you just get really stuck and can't figure it out. In the last level of this world, called the final Kith Maze, not sure if that's actually what it's called. I think it might be saying like I think that name is wrong. I think it's like getting out of the Kith Maze or something like that. But you get the crude builder's hammer, and it does give you two new methods, build types and build XY. We're going to be focusing on build XY in this one. And this allows you to build something at a certain location. So this string is used almost like a tag in the game. So it knows what like a fence is, or what a gate is, or what a wall is. And those things have strings that identify them. But for this lesson, all we need to worry about is that you want your hero to move down, and you kind of hover your mouse over the specific spots on the ground. And that's where you build the fence. That's where you find the coordinates. So I hovered my mouse over this one and I found 3630, and over this one 3626. And you can think about this as similar to Scratch in that as you move down a line, that Y coordinate is decreasing in value as you move down. The X coordinate, this horizontal line, is staying the same. So 36, 36, 36. But as you go down, the Y coordinate is getting lower. So once those are built, then your character can move right outside of the cave. Alright, and that's the end of the recording for today. I hope you guys are enjoying Code Combat, and I absolutely encourage you to keep going. It just gets more challenging and more fun as you continue.